let's actually use OpenCode to help us out. Okay, so I'm gonna say, currently, I am building a not deep research, but an AI agentic system which will um, go build scraping scripts and go through legislation to provide information which will be sent to a non-agentic LLM to provide presentable data to our final user. I am wondering, based off of the system diagram, remember this has access to all of my code, within diagrams, mermaid, mermaid diagram, you have to give like basically I'm programming it right now. Like I'm programming it to give me some sort of result. That's how I like to think about what I'm doing here. Um, so I'm basically gonna say I'm wondering, based off of the system diagram within the diagrams, is a what do you call it? Is a supervisor architecture even needed? If so, I personally do not see a need for it because the supervisor would be delegating tasks to agents. But in my use case, each agent runs one by one, not through not through the results given uh, from other from agent from other iterations of agents running the task. Let's see what it says. Okay. So it did read through both of my texts. Oh, perfect. So it does agree with me. Yeah, supervisor decides which agent exactly. I'm gonna dismiss this. Sequential pipeline. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Um, what I'm gonna say though is, would there ever be a use case under the domain under the domain of my problem? Pull context from the system diagram and what it is trying to achieve. So I'm giving it a anchor of where it can find the context that it needs. And I'm not going to put that in parentheses because I find that models sometimes think of it as like secondary information. Instead, I'll just do this like that. Nice. So would there ever be a use case under the domain of my problem? And I'm going to say problem where a supervisor agent structure, or I'll say supervisor pattern, is needed. This is to say, so I'm going to be a little bit more clear because models rely on being told exactly what to do. This is to say that we need some sort of decision making layer to delegate layer because the outputs of agents need to be evaluated and other agents spawn due to those outputs. Pull context from the system diagram and what it's trying to achieve to provide a comprehensive answer suited for a senior system engineer. Okay. Okay, this is a great architectural question. Let me reason through this thoroughly by grounding the analysis in your specific domain. Legislation tracking for politician accountability, and the system diagram you've built. Verdict no, a supervisor pattern is not needed for your domain. Here's a rigorous the pipeline. Oh, here's a rigorous breakdown. What your system actually does from the diagram, the pipeline. Awesome. This is a linear data pipeline with a strict dependency chain. Each agent's output is mandatory input for the next. There's no branching, no conditional routing, no parallelism. Awesome. Beautiful. Okay, so the AI also agrees with me here, which is amazing. Uh, One thing I will ask it though is uh, one thing I do want to ask it though is maybe this is what I was thinking. I was thinking of keeping this as a separate agentic system and building another agent that will, and I was thinking of an agent that will smartly, or I should say intelligently, decide on what on a specific topic. Okay, that's not like specific enough though, I'm not gonna lie. So prompting that is just gonna be a waste of tokens. So I was thinking of keeping this yeah, so I think I'm just overcomplicating the solution if I am being very, very candid, excuse me here. Um, I don't think we need all of this, right? I think we could just run a simple LangChain dependency sort of execution and then just have these agents running some, one by one, excuse me. But one thing that I do want to see is that um, when the research is done, right? Uh, or when this agent finishes here, I want to add like basically some sort of autonomy. So this is what I'm gonna say. A problem that I do want, the problem, I'll say, the problem is that I do want to add some sort of decision making that the LLM system does to create a truly agentic system that we can scale to provide very useful information. Because eventually the use cases of the current model of how we are accomplishing, of how we are engineering, I should say, engineering the system will dry out. Okay, let's see what Claude says to that. where should that decision making live, and what form should it take? I think this potential you're saying the current pipeline is showing deterministic, no supervisor need today. But you want the system to evolve and a purely archaic chain will become bottom up. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay, so this is awesome. It understood exactly my sort of constraint to what's happening. Let's be precise about what decision making means here. There are different kinds of decisions agentic systems make. They call for different architectural patterns. Intra-agent decision. Agent decides how to use its tools. This is already happening in system. Agent 2 has a pattern program. Let me first read it. This is one thing I don't like, the UI. Like, it should let me sort of, I don't know, I'm pretty new to open code, but it should kind of let me just move this down while I'm reading the agent's output, and then I can just like bring it back up. Anyways, um, inter-agent routing decisions, which agent, oopsies. Okay, so right now we do have, the ability to figure out how it's using tools, right? Uh, because React agent does that. It has the LLM, which acts as a decision making layer, and that decides, hey, what tools should we use, right? So that is true there. Intra agent routing decisions. This was what um, I was looking at. So yeah, planning decisions, breaking a high level goal into sequences of tasks. Pattern which is related to yeah, okay. Bad value in your domain. Let me ground this in your actual problem. Legislation tracking for politician accountability. Here are some realistic future use cases where intelligence at the orchestration layer could matter. You should ask specific policy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually. What I was thinking is that okay. The supervisor pattern for the specific architecture is fragile. What you're describing here is a system that handles a diverse development planner, elements, formulas, executor, iterates to the plan, invokes agents, handles branching. Ooh. Wait, this might be actually a better pattern than the supervisor pattern. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, here's the thing though. Okay, I'm gonna type my own answer. I love this idea, so I'm gonna reinforce it. I'm gonna reward what has given me here. But I do see some issues with it. To start, I want a system that can gather legislative information, and then it will find politicians which have voted on that information and gather their responses. But here's the thing. However, there is a problem with this. Political comments made by politicians are filled with bias and how do I say this? Emotional, I would say, rhetoric, which an LLM/AI agent would not be able to pick up on. So I need a constraint that ensures such rhetoric, oh my god, rhetoric, once we pull politician information is taken care of properly. Oh, okay. Awesome. So I can even update my diagram, which is perfect for this planning session. Um, okay, wait, let me just read through the whole output, first of all. And don't show this thing again. Edition, block, okay, but my main issue is still the fact that I don't know if an agent or like an AI system will be able to fully catch on to the bias, and it might add that bias into it. So I'm gonna say that I love this idea of introducing a new AI agent which will act as a how can I say this? Will act as a rhetoric slash commentary analysis. Great work there. However, my concern still has merit. AI systems are trained off of information, information which is turned into numbers. That cannot capture true emotional depth, nor can it truly, really capture biases, or off-putting statements properly. Especially if I am using a lower tier LLM, which I'm not going to be actually. So that concern is just a waste of tokens. My question, my question now is, are there is this is my question now. Are there already pre-existing frameworks slash tools which can help, which are built around uh, around 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 detecting, I should say, detecting bias within statements and ensuring. Well, actually, no, it's not. Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, that makes no sense. We want. I want the agent to not act in a biased way. Christian, now. I do not want the agent to act in a biased manner. Are there approaches that researchers have discovered which and also I just realized that this whole thing should probably be, and I have feedback first. Okay. I don't even know what I said actually. Oops. Let me just put it here for now. Oh, great. Okay. I'll just put it in a doc and then I'll just paste it into here. Okay, so I love this idea of introducing new AI agents that will act as rhetoric. I know it's great work there. However, my concern still has merits. AI systems are trained off of information which is turned into numbers that cannot. This is not really needed. my question now, I don't want a starting covered, which ensure that the agent stays unfazed when analyzing politicians. For example, a prime minister might have, I'm going to put this before I write this, by the way, but for example, a prime minister might have faced a controversy that the LLM's training data picked up. That might negatively influence how the agent talks about that prime minister. Okay, I think that is pretty good. I'm gonna say prime minister capitalized like that. For example, instead of prime minister, because then it might just think just prime minister, I'm gonna say a politician. A politician, about said politician, like that. Okay, so I'm gonna put this above. So I'm gonna say it after here. So I'm basically making it into a one-shot prompt, just one example, so that the agent can really see what I'm trying to say here. Okay, perfect. So this is what I'm going to paste, and let's see what Claude has to say. Awesome. So I did web fetch, which is a tool call. So that's awesome.